This is Matt Hardy, the man who will not die and is stronger than death, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
The measuring stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at
the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
They think they got the answers. I change the question.
The cream of the crop.
Nobody does it better.
These are the best in the world, brother. These are the best at what they do.
When we talk about the legends of the sport, there's only two in my book.
Another wrestling podcast.
Another wrestling podcast. Now can you dig that, sucker?
Welcome, everybody, to another wrestling podcast. This is episode number 115. I'm Jonathan Benjamin.
And I'm Steve Credo.
Steve, we have an amazing show, king-size show, dare I say, greatest show ever today.
I'm going to hold you to that, Jonathan, but to make it the greatest show, we're going to have another great guest. And joining us on this episode is Christina Von Eerie. Jonathan, for somebody who may not know Christina Von Eerie, what could you tell them?
Yeah, she's probably one of the best women's wrestlers that you may have not ever heard of. She's wrestled all over this entire world. She's been pretty much everywhere, and I think that she never gets the credit that she deserves. We're going to find out a lot about her today. We're going to find out maybe what she's up to, how she got started in the business, and she's been a friend of the show for a long time now, so we are happy to have her on for a proper interview. So I am looking forward to speaking with Christina Von Eerie today.
Definitely. Jonathan, a lot of things are happening every week. There's so much wrestling going on. We could talk about it for hours, but I think we try to pick out the biggest news happening in the week. Give the fans, give some of the people out there something that we could all talk about that's happening each week. That's the biggest news. And the week that was, Jonathan, sort of starting off, this week is pretty big because Brock Lesnar is going to be having a match at UFC 200 this Saturday. I know that's not wrestling, it's UFC, but Brock Lesnar, who is signed to a WWE contract, is being allowed to fight this one fight. What do you think about this, man? I don't know. It's a one-off, but, he wins, awesome. He loses, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I may be in the minority. Mark Hunt is an absolute beast. He beats people up for a living, and he is not to probably be trifled with. But I have a call it nostalgic feeling, call it just wanting Brock to win, so that no one makes fun of me in a later episode here. But I want Brock Lesnar to win. I think he can do it. He's got to prove it to himself, and that's what he said this whole time. He doesn't really care about what happens. He just has to get back in the ring, or the octagon, rather, and prove that he is, once and for all, the baddest man on the planet. I am rooting for Brock all the way. Probably will watch this. It's a steep price tag with that $75 for a UFC pay-per-view. They should get a network like the WWE so I can watch it for $9.99. But what are your thoughts on this, Steve? Do you follow UFC very much? Are you looking forward to this? What do you think about this whole situation?
I don't watch too much UFC. I'm not going to pay for this pay-per-view. I'm going to try to find it somewhere online. Somebody might have a link somewhere just floating around just so I can get a sneak peek at this. I'm not paying $60 for a UFC fight. I'm going to watch it. I want to see Brock. I want to see Brock do good. I want to see him knock this guy out. The faster, the better. Just because we can say a pro wrestler, came in, and beat this guy, Mark Hunt, just for bragging rights. I think I really just want Brock Lesnar to win going in there. So, it's going to be interesting. I just really hope he wins. I mean, if he wins, it's going to be amazing because now he could take that saying, hey, he went back, won, now he came back, he could use it going forward with his, SummerSlam match, whatever that's going to be. We don't know yet, but it's definitely interesting. He is a beast. He's a big guy. I do not want to be standing across the ring from. So I wish him nothing but the best. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens, whether he wins or loses come Saturday. I hope he wins. And there's really not too much into it. I just saw the picture of them face to face with each other, and I honestly thought Mark Hunt was a little bit, the same size as him, but I guess he's a little bit shorter. A little bit skinnier, maybe. I don't know. I guess I thought they honestly looked like that they would match up to each other really well. But Brock looks a little bit bigger than this guy, so hopefully that's to his advantage this weekend.
If you have thoughts on this subject, be sure to follow us on all forms of social media. You can find out all of them at anotherwrestlingpodcast.com. Please join in on the action. Join in on the fun. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you hate. Tell us who you think Brock Lesnar is going to fight at SummerSlam. And if you think he's going to beat Mark Hunt this Saturday at UFC 200.
That's right. Jonathan, a few more things going on right now. Real briefly, I don't want to get too much into it, but last Monday's Raw, the 4th of July Raw, happened to see some of the lowest ratings around. Now, granted, it's the holiday. It was literally 4th of July. People are out watching fireworks. People are out having barbecues. People are out in general. Now, granted, things happen on holidays. Not everybody's sitting down watching TV to get those ratings in. But, there's been a gradual decline in ratings over the past few years. Now, granted, I know you can't really count them all, especially in the age of the DVR and whatnot. But, is this draft, do you feel the draft coming up in 2 weeks is going to help with those ratings? Because I hear, a lot of people are going to get moved up from NXT. A lot of vets are probably going to be coming back. Do you think WWE is going to go all in to make these two shows, Raw and SmackDown, two separate entities again? Do you think it could help in viewership?
Well, it can't hurt, to be honest. With this, it's going to give it a kind of a shot in the arm. Pardon the expression, Roman, but it's really going to do something, and it's going to make things interesting again, make wrestling interesting again. Whoever ends up being the GM of the show is going to be something that people are going to want to know. If they're going to do different titles is something that people are going to want to know. Who's going to go where? I think this can do nothing but help, and there's a lot of talent right now that aren't getting showcased. And with this brand split, if everything goes well, I think you're going to see the rise of some of these people who are kind of stagnant right now, which will force them to create some more storylines, some newer things for them, and exactly what we've been wanting for a while. And I think that the draft, every time the draft happens, I would assume if you go back and look at the ratings that it was probably a bump for at least a while. I'm saying 6 months to a year at least, but that's all dependent on what they do, who gets drafted where, if they decide to break people up that they shouldn't break up or move people that shouldn't be moved. But I have high hopes. I love professional wrestling, and I am wanting this to go well. So I think that the best things that we're going to see for a while will come from this draft.
Definitely. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen because, they keep talking that it's a whole new era. It's a new era. But we really haven't seen too much of this new era except for some guys who were moved up after Mania. But hopefully with this draft, we saw what it used to be and then they kind of got rid of it. But right now, I think there's just, I'm going to use a big word now, Jonathan, a plethora. There's a plethora of superstars, I think now more than there ever was, just from the whole NXT institution of, so many wrestlers down there, so many signees from TNA and all those guys, Bobby Roode, Rhino's coming back and all those guys. You have the Cruiserweight Classic. Now, that's totally different, but I'm just saying, when you look at each show from SmackDown, Raw, the main roster, to the NXT guys, to everybody else, they have a lot of talent. So hopefully this, kind of brings everybody together in a way so that everybody gets equal airtime again. You're not seeing the same promos. You're not seeing the same guys nonstop on a 3-hour show. It's going to be interesting, and I really hope they have a plan. I really hope there's a plan for all this that's going to happen, and it's not just being thrown together and they're just going to do it on the fly kind of thing. I really hope they have a good map to what can really happen with this draft. So it's going to be interesting, and I really hope it boosts the viewership.
Today's show is brought to you by, have you ever dreamed of being a professional wrestler? Then the Platinum Fitness Professional Wrestling School is the school you want. Located in Danbury, Connecticut, and led by Randy Sean Lockwood, a pro wrestler with over 15 years experience. Randy brings his passion for wrestling, as well as his vast knowledge to the school, with many guest trainers to enhance your knowledge, skill, and performance. If you're looking to make your dreams a reality inside the squared circle, then the Platinum Fitness Professional Wrestling School is your best choice. Call 203-628-7757 or visit PlatinumFitnessCT.com for more information.
This is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to another wrestling podcast in association with Celeb VM. Order a personal video message from me and many other wrestlers and celebrities now. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
That's right. Head on over to celebvm.com/AWP.
Get a personal video message for yourself or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message, especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre. Buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
Celebrity video messages and another wrestling podcast team up. Be sure to head on over to celebvm.com/AWP. Joining us right now, we have possibly one of the best women wrestlers in the world right now joining us, Christina Von Eerie. If you haven't heard of her, you're going to hear her right now on the show, so stay tuned for this.
Joining us today is one of the toughest women to ever lace up a pair of boots. You can find her all over the world, from Global Force Wrestling to Gold Rush to Hood Slam. She's continuing to break down barriers and win championship belts. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for one of our friends, Christina Von Eerie. Christina, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? So good to be on the show. I love you guys.
Well, you're amazing. We're so happy that you're able to be with us and excited to have you back. The last time we talked to you was in January at Global Force Wrestling in Poughkeepsie. We're just glad that you made the show because there was some flight delays and some winter weather. So what have you been up to since we last spoke to you in January?
Well, I just recently defended my Pro Wrestling Revolution women's title in the tournament that they just had, and that was in San Francisco. I actually retained my title, so I won that tournament, which was really awesome. I've just been keeping up with Global Force, doing a whole bunch of Hood Slam. We have Reno Wrestle Factory, which is the promotion that the Reno Scum, my team, promotes, and we're doing really well with that. So just wrestling, and playing music, listening to some good punk rock, and working out, you know?
All right. Well, One of the things that's happened in the world of wrestling since we last spoke to you was the actual WrestleMania in April. Now, at WrestleMania, WWE made a brand new women's championship. They're no longer calling it the Divas Championship. Are you kind of glad that they're now showcasing the women as equals to men? I mean, are you glad they dropped the Divas title?
Honestly, whether they call it the Women's Championship or the Divas Championship, I don't really think it makes a difference because the women bring a whole different perspective to wrestling compared to the men. We have a different style. We have a sexuality that's different. We have, we're able to to throw on some eyelashes and nail polish and like some crazy stuff and just change things by our look. But now that WWE is really pushing the women's division and including women that not only look good, but they can wrestle and they're tough and they're pushing women that are strong, I think that's great. The name of the title I don't think makes a huge difference, but it might to some people. You could think of, women's champion versus diva, and it could definitely bring a different image to your mind. So I think I have to say yes, it was a good thing. It was a good change.
Okay, now you wrestle all over. We just mentioned some of the places, but what are some of the things when you're wrestling for independent wrestling places or large companies that you think they can still do to help kind of the continued growth of women's wrestling? Are there things that you see that you're like, man, I wish that they would change that, it would help women's wrestling? Or do you think that things are starting to get better for women in professional wrestling?
I do believe that it's all up to the women to make that change. It's up to us to go out there and put on the best performance that we possibly can and hold ourselves and carry ourselves in ways in which we are respected. And I feel like now everyone is really, really pushing for that. Everyone needs to find their way. And for a while, it was hard for the girls in wrestling because some girls weren't trained very well. Some girls, they just got thrown in there. But now that we have professionals, women that are willing to work, that are willing to put everything that they have into what they're doing, has really changed the scene. And I feel like the only reason that women are getting the respect that they're getting now in wrestling is because of what we've done ourselves. It's not something that we have to convince other people. We can't just say like, hey, that girl's really good, and she's not. That girl has to prove her worth. And she has, figuratively speaking, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I definitely feel that the power is yours. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, everything that we do, that we bring on ourselves is done by us. So the women have really proved themselves, and I'm very proud to be part of that.
Well, we just saw that WWE kind of announced like it's the Cruiserweight Classic. They're doing kind of a out-of-the-box, all kinds of independent promotions are putting some of their best talent out there to try to find a great cruiserweight. Do you think that, the way that wrestling's going these days, it looks like there's a lot of cross-promotion and all that, that if, I guess it's a two-part question, if WWE would do something with this, with women's wrestling, do you think they would? And number two, would you like to be a part of something like that if they were trying to showcase some of the best women that were wrestling around the world today?
So as far as that goes, there's always more males than there are females in wrestling. Hopefully that will change. I think it's great that they're doing that. This way we can have all of our best talent can finally be seen. And even if the guys that deserve the win or should be on WWE in our opinions don't quite make it there, at least they were able to be seen. And that's very important because our exposure and like self-promoting, all that is really what gets us going. Now, if WWE did this for women, I think that it would be amazing. And of course, I would love to be part of it because we would have so many different girls from all around the world, and it's a small world. A lot of girls have worked together that you wouldn't expect to have worked together. So I think that it would be amazing. I honestly don't know if they would do that for the females. If they did, I think it would be great, and I think it would be great exposure all around for all of us, and it would really bring the females up to the level that the guys are at too, since we'd be having the same competitions.
Yeah, I think that's great. Now you've wrestled legends, you've wrestled, all of these people. You've just said that there's a lot of people that people may not even know that you've wrestled. Right now, not of all time, because that's a whole different question, but who are some of your favorite women that you've competed against lately that maybe people don't know that you'd like them to know about?
Well, a lot of the girls that I fought, most people know about, but I don't really have any secret matches. But I have to say recently, Nicole Savoy has been amazing and a pleasure to work with. I really enjoy working with her. I have to go back to Saraya Knight. It wasn't the most recent, but she's always been my favorite opponent, and I've learned so much from her. She is definitely my mentor, and that's WWE Paige's mother. She's just amazing in every way. Candice LeRae is another extremely awesome talent that has helped me learn things and has just been a great friend. And these girls have just been so awesome, and there's so many more to mention. There's some new girls coming around. Beatrice Domino, I've never worked with her, but she has been doing really well lately for herself. And I'm looking forward to seeing the new talent rise, because there's a lot of girls that I haven't yet worked with that I would really like to work with.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, and it's summer now, and summer's always the time for great new music. What are you currently listening to whenever you're out on the road? What's some of your favorite music to listen to right now?
I listen to a whole bunch of different stuff. Of course, everyone knows my punk rock roots. I always love the Dwarves, G.G. Allen, the Misfits, the Cramps. But I have a guilty pleasure right now, and it's Melanie Martinez.
Okay.
I have to admit.
Hey,
I know.
That's all right.
I've been jamming out to some Melanie Martinez lately. She's really, really good. I love that Crybaby album. But yeah, I love punk rock. I listen to a lot of the Descendants, the Adolescents, and Joey Ramone's birthday bash was just recently, and I'm so sad that I didn't get to go to that because there's so many legends that were at that show that I really, really wanted to see. But I love punk and I love metal. I recently just played in a band called Goth, and they were from Portugal, and I played bass for them. They've actually gone back to Portugal, but that was really fun. It was a different sound for me, but it was amazing. I got to play 5-string bass in a metal band, so that was fun.
Well,
but yeah, man, the Dwarves, Rancid, Op Ivy, those bands rule. There's so many amazing punk bands that have just made my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you have, it's unique that you not only wrestle, but you take part in playing music, like you just mentioned. Do you feel like the two of those are similar, like as far as like the fans, the kind of gypsy-like lifestyle? Is it a lot of the same, wrestling and playing music?
I have to say yes, but then at the same time, no. Playing music and like touring with a band is just a little. I think it's harder to do sometimes than wrestling as far as making your due. With wrestling, it's a little easier to set your dates and everything. And sometimes with music, your band shows get canceled and you've already hit the town and you're SOL, you know what I mean? But wrestling and music definitely go hand in hand, especially when it comes to punk rock. And when I was coming up in the academy that I was training at, Supreme Pro Wrestling in Sacramento, California, we used to have these events called Punk Slam. And what that was we would have some cool bands like Final Summation, Secretion, other local bands, Ashtray. I think we had Teenage Bottle Rocket once. And we would have these bands play in between our matches. And a lot of punk rock fans love lucha. And it's very true. Even the band The Dwarves, he who cannot be named wears a lucha mask and doesn't show his face. And, that's wrestling for you. I definitely think they go hand in hand, for sure.
Well, you are currently in California.
Yeah.
You have roots in lucha. You wrestled for AAA. Is there any chance, or has there ever been any contact between you and Lucha Underground?
Honestly, I haven't had contact with Lucha Underground. Currently, right now, I'm working for Pro Wrestling Revolution, and some of the people that work Lucha Underground also work there. It's definitely a company that I would love to work for. I definitely I would love to work for Lucha Underground. It's very well put together, and there's some amazing talent there. So I haven't worked there, but I'd like to.
Okay, well, we're gonna try to just get everybody to tweet them and yell at them and see if they can get you there, because I think it would be an awesome fit.
Thank you.
No problem. Now, you've been wrestling for quite a while now. We've talked to you a lot about what you've done. What are some of the things that you still want to do in your wrestling career?
Wow. Well, in October, I want to say it's been a little over 10 years since my debut. And I feel very fortunate to have been able to travel all around the world and pursue this dream. As far as goals, I've always said I just want to be the absolute best I can be, and I want to be happy. I don't know what will happen in any place that I end up going. You could end up going somewhere that's supposed to be the best, and you could be there and be unhappy, I just hope that whatever I end up doing, that I am able to be myself, put all of my, put my best foot forward and enjoy life while I'm doing it. Right now, Global Force has been amazing. Pro Wrestling Revolution has been amazing. I'm having lots of fun there, and I feel very well taken care of and respected in both of those places. A good example of fun, Hood Slam. Hood Slam's been so much fun. The last show, I was Misty from Pokemon. I got to throw a bunch of Pokeballs at the fans, and it was so great. I loved it. But, of course, WWE is always a goal for us. we always want to make it to the top. And I want to make it to the top, of course, but like I said, I want to be the best I can be and be happy.
Well, I think it's awesome that you're still living the dream, and that, you know, we got to see you at Global Force, and for anybody who hasn't got to see Christina Von Eerie, I highly suggest you go out and get on YouTube or find some old DVDs or some new DVDs and see your work. You're unique, and I think that that's one of the cool things. In for a while in women's wrestling, I think that there was kind of like a mold, and that most people were trying to fill that, and you definitely go out of your way to not fill that mold, and it's very refreshing. So I'm always happy whenever I see you're anywhere around, and like you mentioned, I think you've got some shows with Global Force coming up. Be sure to check out Global Force on Twitter, on Facebook. You can go to their site as well. But July 1st, it looks like you're going to be in Marion, Illinois. You're also going to be in Valparaiso, Indiana on the 28th. And as you mentioned, coming up here very shortly, June 25th, we'll be wrestling with Gold Rush in Pacifica, California, as well as a busy time you're going to be wrestling at Hood Slam coming up as well. So anybody that is out there listening to this, you can check out any of those places we just mentioned and see where Christina Von Eerie is going to be at. But Christina, I know you have your ups and downs with social media, but where can people find you these days on social media?
For me, I guess the best place is Facebook or Instagram. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't do social media that much. I'm just not that great at it. I need to do it. I know I do. I'm hitting myself right now, okay? I'm hitting myself for you guys because I need to get back in gear with the Twitter and the Facebook and the other stuff that you kids like nowadays. But, and I promise I will. I'm working on it. But, Instagram, CVEvil_138, and also Facebook, facebook.com/TheRealCVE. Any messages that you send me, I'll reply to. Send me a friend request, I'll accept it. Pound me if you'd like to get me back on Twitter, because I think if I'm harassed about it, I'll do it. But those are definitely the two that are most readily available to contact me on.
You guys heard it. If you hound her enough, she will come back to Twitter, make a grand re-entrance into the Twitter sphere. Now, we mentioned earlier it's summer. It's that time of year where people go on trips and vacations and all that stuff. Do you have anything planned for summer, or are you just traveling with wrestling and you won't get to really have a vacation?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. We always have to find time to go to Santa Cruz, California. Okay? The beach boardwalk. You pass by Gilman, which is an amazing punk rock venue, legendary, if I might say so myself. Yeah, I plan on doing some stuff like that. I miss the beach, so I'm definitely going to go there. My brother, James Von Eerie, is an amazing adventurer, so he and I usually go to the beaches, go exploring these caves. We go hiking all the time. It's always super fun, and I'll just be checking out some music and some shows. So, yeah, it's pretty much going to be my summer. I just plan on enjoying California and enjoying wherever the hell else I go.
Well, I will tell you, if you need any clues about what to do in Indiana, I am a former Hoosier, so when you get to Valparaiso, maybe we'll reconnect and I'll let you know all the hot spots in Valparaiso, Indiana, which there aren't a lot, but that's all right.
Well, that sounds amazing, and I'm very interested in that. Love new places, so.
Lightning round.
Something that you're currently watching on television, Netflix, movie. What's one of your favorite things to watch?
Well, this morning I watched episode 2, season 1 of Pokemon because I'm starting that over. I watched episode 1 of season 1 yesterday because I feel like I need to study up if I'm going to be Misty.
Okay.
To be honest with you, like, I'm really into, like, the History Channel and, like, science TV, stuff like that. I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of stuff on space, the ocean. I know it's, you know, probably unexpected for me, but definitely into, like, facts. I love listening to debates. I'm really into, you know, like Bill Nye the Science Guy is amazing, and Richard Dawkins is another brilliant mind that I love to listen to lectures by. So,
if you weren't a professional wrestler / punk rocker, what job would you want to do?
I just want to be a superstar.
No, that's totally fine.
Honestly, I honestly I'm not sure. There's so many things that we could all do. I've always really been interested in the medical field, and I was honestly thinking about going to school to be a phlebotomist, just because I'm really into that kind of stuff. I really love the medical field. Yeah, I would probably get into medicine if I weren't continuously wrestling. And someday, you know, 'cause we can't all do this forever. And so that might be something I'm going to do, you know. Another thing is animals. I love animals. I would love to get into a field where I could care for animals, or even, like, you know, even the vet, even be a veterinarian. Like, that would be amazing, an amazing job. I have a little Chihuahua, and she is my life.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What pets, if any, does Christina Von Eerie have? So you have a Chihuahua. Do you have anything else?
Okay. Well, I had 2 Chihuahuas. Okay. Doom and Gurr. And Doom was just a little bit bigger than Gurr, but she's since passed away on October 30th of, it was 2 years ago now. So that is Doomsday, everyone. October 30th. That's Doomsday. And then I have Gurr, and she's my other little Chihuahua, sister to Doom, and she's just the cutest little psycho thing. And of course, I named them after the Invader Zim character, Gurr. And Doom is the song she sings. My brother has a blue-nosed pit bull named Mary Lou, who is very classy. I'll tell you that much. But those are the only pets in my life. But Gurr is my little ball of love and weird, freaky Chihuahua-ness.
Well, that's awesome. Do you have any plans to get any more pets, or do you think you're good with Gurr right now?
I think I'm good with Gurr. I want to give, like, all the attention I can give to my Chihuahua, you know, because I'm traveling a lot, and it's hard to take care of multiple animals. So, right now, Gurr is, she's my only child.
Okay, well, what is, other than some of your music choices, what is your guilty pleasure? What's something that you like that most people would think was strange or weird?
Like outside of music, or
yes, just in general. Like, is there anything that you really like that you think that you secretly think is weird? You may be ashamed of it, but you like it anyway.
I don't know if I'm too comfortable sharing that with you, Jonathan. Honestly, like, yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy mini golfing.
That's awesome.
Fun. I like, I like a good mini golf course going on. I don't know. I really, I've been into making Pokeballs lately. That's been fun. don't know about anything too weird. Okay. I'm sure I'll think about something later, or maybe I just really don't want to tell you.
Oh, that's all right. We mentioned you've got a lot of upcoming shows. You have got social media. Is there anything else that you want anybody to hear before we let you go? We know you're very busy, so we want to make sure that you get some love to Gurr and get ready for your next upcoming match. So is there anything that we missed that you want to tell the people listening about?
Well, again, hound me about social media, and I will get back on it. And please, whenever you get a chance, check out Hood Slam, check out Pro Wrestling Revolution, Reno Wrestle Factory, and Global Force Wrestling. I guess that's all I really have to say. And you know, anyone that knows any great punk rock shows going around Cali, please feel free to send me a message, and I'm there.
Well, I think that we need to do this. We've tried this before, and it's worked out pretty well. We asked Matt Seidel what he likes and what he would want fans to bring him, and he said fruit and fruit baskets. So we've since talked to him, and he said that it's worked. At some shows, he's gotten this. So if somebody comes and meets you at a show, what is one thing that Christina Von Eerie likes, whether it be jewelry or food or clothes or whatever? What is something that fans can bring you to shows?
Oh, my. You know, I've always been one of those girls that didn't like to request a gift. Now,
I'm requesting
I love
for
surprises. All right. Honestly, my favorite kind of chocolate is from Cadbury, and it's called Jelly Popping Candy. And as far as I know, you can only get it from England.
Wow.
So if you guys can find some of that, that would be great. But to be honest with you, I love fan art. And anything that anyone makes is something that I always just adore, and I treasure that stuff because it's real effort. That's real love. I'm never looking for like gifts or anything like that. But if you know any kind of fan art or anything like that, that's something that I love. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, we want to thank Christina Von Eerie once again for coming on and just being so awesome. Good luck in everything that you have coming up, and we can't wait to see you soon and talk to you again.
Thank you so much. And everyone has to oi with me, okay? Are you ready?
All right.
3 times. Oi, oi, oi.
Thanks again to Christina Von Eerie. Always great to hear from her.
All right, Steve. Now, when we do these podcasts, we do a lot of research. And for this week's episode, we wanted to talk about urban legends and myths in professional wrestling. What I found out while researching this is that there are a lot of sick people out there. I've looked up these things. They said, here is a list of things that are possibly legends and myths in professional wrestling, and they're not safe for work. So I clicked on them, and I read through them, and some of them are utterly disgusting, and some of them are downright hilarious, and some of them you've probably heard before. So we're going to talk about some of them today. If you have a favorite urban legend or myth about professional wrestling, once again, you can always find us on social media. You can tweet us at @WrestlingPod and let us know what your favorite urban legend and myth is. Now, I have to get into this right away. It's one of the more comical ones that we're going to talk about, I think, today, and that is Hulk Hogan's black eye at WrestleMania 9. Now, for those of you who remember this match...
I don't remember, Jonathan. I don't want to talk about it.
No, it was great. The main event saw Yokozuna taking on the best there is, was, and ever will be not, Bret Hart.
Bite your tongue.
And, in the final closing moments of this match, he gets salt in the eye by Mr. Fuji. Yokozuna pins him, 1, 2, 3, wins the title, and out comes Hulk Hogan sporting a big shiner under his eye. Now, what we were told and what the urban legend is are two totally different things. Do you remember this, Steve?
I remember it, and I was saying to myself as a little Mark saying, why? I'm confused because I was like, why do you have a black eye? Then I'm like, well, he's a wrestler. I'm sure he just gets black eyes. But I was so young that I didn't really get it. You know what I mean? To where I remember it, but at the same time, it was like, hey, why does he have a black eye? So yeah, it was interesting. What was the whole explanation of it?
Well, the story that we were told was that he was on a jet ski and that he got into a wreck on the open water and caused that black eye. He hit what you use to control the jet ski, he apparently hit that in a collision, and that caused the black eye. That seems fair, I guess. The story behind the urban legend is that Macho Man was backstage, and Macho Man and Elizabeth had just divorced. Macho Man blamed Hulk Hogan for the divorce, and he decked him right then and there, which caused the black eye. It seems a little far-fetched to me, just because I thought there'd probably be some sort of repercussion for Macho Man if that happened, or a black eye doesn't happen exactly that quickly. You know what I mean? You get hit in the eye, it takes a little bit of time. But it's just definitely a very strange thing for me. I think it's hilarious that these urban legends kind of start. We could start one today. We could say, in 10 years, maybe this is going to be one of the big urban legends in professional wrestling. But some of these, like I said, are humorous, and some of them are a little less humorous. So, Steve, are there any that you can come up with that you think are strange or you've heard of? Or
Sure. I think this one everybody my age, our age, kind of heard of. It was the whole Ultimate Warrior death rumors, and that there was a new Ultimate Warrior. From what I remember, when the Ultimate Warrior, I guess, went away, he came back a few years later, and he didn't quite have the same muscles that he used to, and he was wearing, you remember the body painted leotard? I don't know what you call them, gear, spandex, whatever.
I wear one every day.
So I remember when he came back, the new quote-unquote Ultimate Warrior was wearing this, and a lot of people weren't buying it, if you will. They were kind of confused because they were like, this isn't the same Ultimate Warrior. This guy's totally different. There's something different about him. Do you remember that? I think that's one of the biggest things I remember from my childhood, is that it was the Ultimate Warrior died and that somebody else replaced him.
I do remember that, and not only that, but I remember that there was this is a double rumor or double urban legend, that at one point they were talking about Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, was actually the Ultimate Warrior. But if you look at them straight on, you can obviously tell it's not the same person. I don't know if it's because they used to call Kerry Von Erich the modern day warrior. I don't know where that came from, but it was obvious that it was the Ultimate Warrior. He just was a little bit out of shape, and he was probably a little ashamed. So they gave him the Giant Gonzalez route, and they spray painted on his gear some muscles, and there you have it. But I think that we would have known it's the same guy, obviously, the same intensity. He was still running out to the ring. There was no doubt in my mind that it wasn't the original Ultimate Warrior. But, I mean, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking urban legends and myths. It's something just that simple that makes people believe that somebody died, and and there you have it. But I'll tell you, we go out to a lot of shows. We go out to a lot of events and signings and all that stuff. And never have I heard more urban legends and myths than standing in line listening to other fans. It is one of the funnest and most infuriating things. If you are out there, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's just funny how these things get started. So Steve, I'm going to talk to you about another one right now that it's a little deep. We talk about these.
Wait,
sort
this
of
isn't
things.
about the Sunny video.
No. That's a different thing. But we're going to talk a little bit about the Chris Benoit situation. He who shall not be named. Obviously, it's a very serious situation. A lot of lives lost. We are not trying to make light of that situation. But after Chris Benoit and his family passed away, a lot of people, I think, were trying to grasp for anything to try to make them believe that Chris Benoit didn't commit this horrible atrocity. People's minds started wondering, and they came up with the conclusion that Kevin Taskmaster Sullivan murdered Chris Benoit and his family. Have you heard this legend?
Yes, I have. And I kind of see where people would go with this, because his character was definitely a satanic whatever kind of a guy. So I can understand that they did this, especially since a woman was formerly with Kevin Sullivan as well. So I kind of see what they were going with this. And, a lot of people, everybody said that, Chris Benoit, who's a great guy, who's a quiet guy, never once did they think he would do something like this. And, I never knew him. I don't personally know him, so I can't say what it would feel like, or what I knew. I'm not saying that I do, but just from the facts to where, he never had anything like this ever in his life, to where he wasn't, it just didn't fit his persona, if you will. If I can make it short and sweet, to where, and then he ends up killing his wife, his son, and himself. So it's kind of, what happened to make him do this, we'll never know. But yeah, man, I understand that people are looking for an outlet to blame somebody else, and to blame him. So there's a lot of facts out there. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of urban legends. So I guess we'll never know. But I mean, I get where people are coming from. I don't know. Maybe he did, Jonathan. Maybe he didn't. We don't know 100% for sure on any of this, except for what we know from the news. But, coming from Kevin Sullivan's background as his former character of this like satanic worshiper guy, if you will, do you kind of see where people might have thought that maybe reality was part of his, playing a part of his life, or life was a part of his reality in wrestling, to where people thought that Kevin Sullivan did it?
Well, I think that if you like I said, if you Google professional wrestling urban legends and myths, there's like 7 about Kevin Sullivan. One of them is that he's satanic. One of them is that he's a nudist. One of them is that he murdered Chris Benoit. So I really do believe that people just were trying to grasp at straws, and they pinned this on Kevin Sullivan just because of the fact that he was with woman before Chris Benoit and all that stuff. But to get off subject a little bit, but not too much, you had mentioned that people had said that Chris Benoit was very quiet and very, kind or whatever. I only met Chris Benoit one time, and it was in 2007. It was actually February 3rd, 2007 in Carbondale, Illinois. There was a day that WWE was going to Carbondale for an event, and that day had 2 signings. CM Punk was signing at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and Chris Benoit was going to sign at I think it was the Ward Chrysler dealership. And me and one of my friends made the drive to Carbondale, and we waited. I think the signing was supposed to start at like 3 that day, and the event was supposed to start at 7. And at 3 o'clock came and went, 4 o'clock came and went, and finally they came and said, listen, he had a late flight, whatever, so he's still going to come, but it's going to be quick. He showed up. He apologized to everybody. He signed like 2 things for everybody. Thanked all of us for coming out to see him. In that brief moment that I had with Chris Benoit, I would have never, ever guessed that, something like that could have came from anybody. And, you heard that from everybody. But I do believe, unfortunately, that he did create this tragedy. And I don't think that Kevin Sullivan had much to do with it.
Sure, all urban legends and myths. In all honesty, Jonathan, at the end of the day, we'll never truly know the facts without being there. We'll only know what we read online or see on TV. And this one I want to bring up because it's quite interesting that Bret Hart, my childhood hero, was in on the Montreal Screwjob. Now, Jonathan, we all seen Wrestling with Shadows and, the documentary about it, and just from the backstage, shots after that to where he was pissed off, there's no shadow of the doubt in my mind that he was not a part of this. But at the end of the day, I could see how, that they could probably twist this to where, it was all a part of the show. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think Bret Hart could have had any part been any part of this Montreal Screwjob, or is it still just an urban legend?
You know what? Like the Montreal Screwjob has been just almost beat to death with, years after years of people coming at it at every angle. I think the only truth to that is that, Vince was actually helping facilitate Bret's leave from WWE to WCW. I mean, he knew he was going there. There's all kinds of proof out there that Vince pretty much helped get him after he couldn't come to terms with this contract. The only thing is Bret didn't want to do the job. That's what they say to Shawn Michaels, because Shawn was not respectful to Bret Hart. And if you knew Shawn Michaels back then, that's not a reach. But to think that it was an inside job, that Bret Hart was in on the Montreal Screwjob, I'm going to have to say that there's no way that that's true. There's absolutely no way. If that is the case, it is the greatest thing that has ever been pulled off in WWE or all of professional wrestling, because that many moving pieces and Bret Hart acting the way he did, punching Vince in front of everybody, breaking all of the equipment, spitting on Vince, like that, all of that would have had to have been predetermined, pre-planned, and I just don't think it could have happened. It was just too big of a thing to have been planned out. I mean, we can sit here and plan the greatest show ever, and we can try to do it, but things happen, and it wouldn't go exactly as we planned. And I think that the more people that were in on it, the less likely it would have went off the way it did. So, especially with one of the main characters being in on it. So, I do not think it was an inside job. There's absolutely no way that Bret Hart was in on the Montreal Screwjob.
All right.
Now, I'm going to go to one. This one's a fun one. We all know Andre the Giant, and a lot of his stories are as big as his legend. There was an amazing story that I heard. He was in a bar over in England, and a couple people came up to him and were saying something along the lines of wrestling's fake and blah, blah, blah. And Andre just kept drinking at the bar, didn't really say anything. The guys just kept pestering him, kept pestering him. And he could have, just destroyed anybody that was messing with him. But instead, he got up quietly, he went outside, and when the two guys eventually had left, their car was upside down. So he literally just tipped their car upside down, and that was that. But that's not the urban legend that we're talking about here. This is that Andre drank 156 beers in one sitting. Now, A, do you think this is humanly possible? And B, do you think this is a legend, or do you think this is an actual true story?
Without even Googling it, which I'm sure all you guys would love to prove anybody wrong out there Googling it, but I want to go off my gut, and I think it is absolutely true. I remember seeing and watching stories with him to where, he would drink bottles of wine like they were cans of beer, and you've seen that classic photo of him holding that beer to where it looks like a little, like a playhouse beer. It's like a little thing to him. He was huge, man. So 156 beers, I think you have to that would probably be maybe 2 cases or something for him. I don't know. You got to remember how big he was, and compared to whatever those 156 beers equal, I definitely think you have to like divide that by 2 or something. That's how many really beers it was to him or something like that. But I could believe it, man. I've seen a lot of stuff that he's drank and heard about and seen. So just by hearing this 156 beers in one sitting, and now that sitting could have been, over a course of a few hours maybe. I definitely could see that happening. I think that's more than an urban legend. I think that's a fact.
Well, in doing the research, I found some quotes from referee Tim White, and for people who don't know, Tim White was kind of Andre's, real good friend, but also his, I hate to say the word handler, but that's pretty much what he was. Whenever he went around, he would be with him and make sure that he got everything he needed, and he absolutely said that this is true. There's no real date or time this actually happened, but he said that it's definitely a true story. That I think his direct quote was, he could drink a plane dry before it ever took off. So I think that's pretty ridiculous. I just wish that, and we had a guest on not too long ago named Box Brown who did an awesome book on Andre the Giant, the life of Andre the Giant. But that's one thing in the world of professional wrestling that I'll never get tired of hearing, and that is stories about Andre the Giant.
Definitely. Now, Jonathan, we scraped the surface of urban legends and myths. Guys, girls, and everybody out there listening, please head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com, the mothership of AWP. You can tweet us, you can Facebook us, you can email us, anything you want. Maybe there's some urban legends out there that you've heard about, and maybe we could discuss about them. But we'd love to hear from you. Tweet us, Facebook us, all that fun stuff. It's social media these days. That's the place to do it. So let us know any other urban legends or myths or whatever that you've heard, and maybe we can revisit this another time, huh?
Well, that's the show. We want to thank you all for listening today.
Every week we do the show free of charge for you, the fans.
And if you're wondering how to repay us, we have just the thing.
Subscribe to us on iTunes.
Hey, and while you're there, be sure to rate us and give us a good review.
If you're looking for more information about AWP, then head on over to anotherwrestlingpodcast.com.
We are all over social media, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more.
If you are an AWP superfan, you can also show your support by going over to ProWrestlingTees.com/anotherwrestlingpodcast and buying one of our official AWP shirts.
We couldn't do this show without you, so tune in next week for
Another Wrestling Podcast.